And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, all about helping you understand your buying decisions. I'm Brandon Rhymes. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. Save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you may need it. 813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline. 813-670-7372. Had an uptick in calls this week. We appreciate those who are calling in, wanting to list their real estate properties, maybe refinance, pull out some equity, and get better terms on your mortgage with Diane and Vance. We appreciate all that are engaging with our show, and talk a lot about it, a collaborative economy. It's going to take a collaboration of local businesses, nonprofit business owners, business leaders here in Tampa Bay to pull ourselves out of this. And we've got some latest numbers here from the unemployment, and 1.5 million more jobless workers file for unemployment. So that number out of Washington for U.S. unemployment benefits last week, evidence that Americans are still losing jobs even as the economy appears to be slowly recovering. And the latest figure from the Labor Department marked that the 10th straight weekly decline in applications for jobless aid since that peaked in March due to the coronavirus. So we're going to jump into some of that, some of the statistics on today's show. A couple of hot property listings for this segment. We've got a beautiful lakefront property at 520 George Street South, right here in Tarpon Springs, Pinellas County, on the lake. 2,500 acre lake. You got your own private dock. You got a mother-in-law suite, and bring your boat to this beautiful property and fish right from your very own dock here in Tampa Bay. 520 George Street South. Under $500,000 to own a piece of Lake Tarpon. Great opportunities right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. We also have 422 Wildwood Way in Bel Air. This is a gorgeous home. This property is back on market. The property has over $100,000 of recent upgrades in it. 422 Wildwood Way, right here in beautiful Bel Air, Florida, and a great opportunity to own real estate here in Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. platinummvpteam.kw.com. And we got a great lineup for you today. This segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brothers Easy Moving. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, they're a first-class organization. They did a great job with our family's move over to our new lake house. Brothers Easy Moving. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we got a great lineup for you. Coming up next, we got Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, going to give us an economic update. Things happening on the mortgage side. We're going to talk about investors, some of the investor opportunities that she sees in the marketplace. Of course, property investment is up. Airbnb inventory is low right now. Inventory is super low. It was low pre-COVID-19, especially after COVID-19. We're down over 900 homes, residential properties for sale year over year, month of April. And Diane Vance is going to talk about some of the different misnomers around real estate and mortgage, down payment assistance programs, what's available, what's out there, and some of the different things that she's offering. Also, Melissa Menikheim calling in from Pro Health Pest Control, going to talk about some of the different killers to your real estate values, termites, rodents, those types of issues, killer hornets, and also the killer bees and murder hornets, that is, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So we've got a great lineup for you here. We appreciate you engaging with us, and we have over 50 show partners, 80 different categories, and we always talk about that hub of your financial, your business wheel, your real estate wheel. We want to serve you, our radio and TV show family out there, by connecting you with our expert contributors here on the show. So, hey, follow us online. We would love to connect with you at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram and Twitter, Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook. Find us on Amazon, Apple TV, Amazon, Roku, all the different places you can see our show. Of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would love to connect with you there as well. So, hey, got a great lineup for you today. Follow us online. Check out consumerqb.com, and we'll be right back after the short break. Don't go anywhere.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
My name is James DeGiro.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, it's good.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Realty, helping you win in your real estate deals, buying, selling, investing. We would love to talk to you. Got a couple of hot listings here. This one just got listed as well. Hamlin Road. This is up in Pasco County. 12500 Hamlin is a great opportunity for builder developers here. We got 41 acres we just listed in Spring Hill, 12500 Hamlin Road, Spring Hill. You got 41 acres here that could be prime opportunity for development, and believe me, Pasco County is booming. Pinellas County is completely saturated in terms of land sales. We got a couple lots available there as well in Clearwater area and different places in Pinellas. But this is a great opportunity, development opportunity in Pasco County. More professional photography coming if you're watching our TV show version of the show on Apple TV, Amazon, or Roku, and of course our YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't. And this segment is brought to you by Golf Cart Depot. Check out our friends over at Golf Cart Depot. These things are fun. I tell you, I love getting out and driving and having some fun on our Easy Go. They also sell the Star EV Cushman. They've got remanufactured, pre-owned golf carts available as well at the Golf Cart Depot of Florida. Tampa location up in Land O'Lakes, also Clearwater location off of US 19. Give Marty a call. He's the owner. Let him know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take him up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we want to help you win in any marketplace, of course. That is our goal here as your consumer advocate, 50-plus show partners. And right now we've got one of our best on the show, Diane Vance, back on the program. Fairway Independent Mortgage, welcome back.
Hey, good to be back, Brandon. And actually in a place that is not in the car.
Yeah. Hey, awesome. And the mortgage industry is still, something that's, people have some misconceptions about it. Down payments, one of the big things. What's going on with the rates? How's COVID-19 affecting things? What have you been seeing on your end, Diane? So
actually what's happening is the interest rates are actually dropping. So the COVID-19 had caused some pullbacks in some of the programs, but they've actually loosened most of those up. So just about all the programs are back. We still don't have down payment assistance programs back, but those are slowly coming back. It's more of a, setting up with the new systems and that type of thing. And the actual, we're still, of course, our FHA, VA, they're down to 620 USDA, which is rural properties, and that's a zero down program. But we're seeing a lot of activity. We're very, very busy. We're up 75% from a year ago at this time. So it's really a good thing. Of course, VA loans are excellent pricings right now. Your government loans are really low interest rates. And, with the Fed, announcing yesterday they're going to keep interest rates at zero for the next until 2022. It didn't do well for the stock market. However, it does do well for the mortgage interest rates, even though it has a little to do with mortgage interest rates. The actual mortgage bond securities actually do change during this time. So we're seeing interest rates that are the lowest they've ever been. Even, I know I say that every time I'm on the show, but it again is the lowest interest rates they've ever been. So if you are planning on buying, it is a great time to start planning and actually buy. We are going to have low interest rates for a while, but again, they're the lowest they've ever been.
Yeah, it's such a great opportunity right now for investors as well, Diane. When you look at people investing in Airbnb properties, Tampa Bay in general is just a super hot market. We were already a low inventory market. And then, for example, I was talking about Pasco County, Pinellas County, Hillsborough a lot on the show. And when you look at the stats, the Pinellas County, for example, is down 997 residential listings in Pinellas County. 976 listings to be exact. A difference from April year over year was 5849 listings at the end of April, and this year 2020 4873. That's a 17% decrease in active inventory.
Well, and that is the issue. There's a lot of people that want to buy. There's just not enough inventory out there. So if you're thinking about selling, it is a perfect time to sell. I know people think because of COVID that people are people are selling. People want to buy. So a lot of people just don't know that. I don't know. A lot of people think they can get really good deals, but we're actually finding the opposite. We're actually finding that there's a lot of, when they do have a house that's reasonably priced, there's several offers on it. So it's definitely a great time to start looking, and don't get discouraged because there is a house out there for you, because people are starting to think about listing. But even before COVID, we've had that issue for a very long time. It's been a long time since we've had enough inventory for buyers.
Yeah, inventory for buyers, and then also awesome programs. There's even down payment assistance programs. You can get creative with realtor rebates, commissions going back to the buyer at closing. Have you worked any kind of deals like that lately?
Oh yeah, yep. We have realtors that they're allowed to either give a part of their commissions plus seller are paying closing costs. They're allowed to do that. So there's a lot of things. A lot of people tend to have. So when we start talking about whether they have a down payment or not, and it depends on if they do or don't, where they actually buy could make the difference of how much of a down payment sometimes. And it also could make a difference when they start thinking about you can actually borrow against your 401k. A relative can give money to you. So gifting is a big thing. That tends to be most of the times people that they realize that they can actually purchase a home and pay less rent than less payments than the rent actually is. And they're finding that. And when they have their first and last security, so by the time they actually figure that out, where they're getting their deposit from their old apartment that they're moving out of, and plus they may have gotten the incentive from the government giving it to them, so they actually have the down payment. So we actually go through it, and then we work with the realtor. You have some great realtors that are able to actually negotiate the seller paying the closing costs, so they're able to actually get in the house with a very minimal down payment, and they're actually able to save money on a monthly basis.
Yeah, and if you just joined us, we're talking with Diane Vance, local lender here in Tampa Bay. Support the local economy. top 5 lender in the country, closing billions of real estate loans and mortgages already this year. And she is a regional manager for that company. So she's got about 30 or plus so folks that work with her and for her. Let's talk a little bit about, because on the second half of the show today, we're going to talk with Melissa Menikheim from Pro Health Pest Control. What do you see in terms of inspection results, pest results, termite? What are some tips maybe in that area of the business?
Well, I would tell, so we don't require a pest inspection for any loans except for VA. However, I always recommend as a seller, you should really think about making sure you get a pest inspection, make sure you don't have any live termites, because it will come up. Even though the lender does not require to have a pest inspection, if the appraiser sees any evidence of it, he may require it. So I would suggest that you take care of that. If there's wood rot, take care of that before you actually list the house, or right when you list the house. If you have active termites, make sure you get treated, and because it's actually it will happen if a home inspector comes in or and does the termite report, or a termite inspector company comes in and says that you have live termites, the buyer's going to want that treated. So if you ever have had termites and it's actually been treated, but you still haven't done the actual damage that the termites may have caused, it's a good idea to get that taken care of so that you can actually not have an issue come up a little later.
Now, what about on the, I think right now, a lot with so many Americans being laid off, one of our latest stories that we're going to talk about here as well is 1.5 million more jobless workers file for unemployment as well. That's, what a staggering number that we see coming up. But when you think about it, Diane, more and more people are looking for maybe a new career or maybe a side hustle that they can do. I know our insurance partner, Doug Levi, talks about his insurancesidehustling.com. In real estate, you can be a referral agent. If you don't want to go full bore and have 100% of your time dedicated to real estate, you can simply be a referring agent where they refer deals to people and still make a 25% referral fee. On the mortgage side, are you seeing any of that, or is that something you guys are offering too?
Actually, I'm hiring somebody who's brand new in the business, and she's changing careers, but she has some experience, customer service sales years ago, but she's changing careers. I'm actually going to hire her, and very impressed. And I am seeing that. We're actually seeing that quite often in the mortgage business because it's a fun career, and plus it's up to you there is no cap on it's just like a realtor. There's no cap on how much money you can earn. So people get excited about that. We are seeing, I have a lot of people calling me because they are changing careers. If they're changing careers, it's fine because the misnomer out there is that if you change jobs, you're not going to be able to get a mortgage. That's not true. It's if you are an hourly or a W-2 employee, then changing jobs doesn't matter. It's fine. We just look at your 2-year history, and if you change jobs, it's okay. A lot of people, change jobs to better themselves. So, I've actually had customers call me and ask me that question. If I change jobs because I was furloughed at my old job, but I want to go into something different, but I'm still going to be, I'm still going to have an hourly wage. Can I still qualify for a mortgage? Yes, you can. Now, what we are doing, though, is we are checking 7 days prior to closing and 1 day prior to closing to make sure that the person that we approved the loan for is still employed. But we're seeing more and more of our folks that are customers going back to work. So a lot of them are going back to work in the same industry. But I actually had one lady that honestly thought she could not close on her home, but we ended up just using her husband's income, and it was fine. So, just talk to a professional. Don't assume anything.
Yeah, exactly. Find out what the stats are. Don't, make assumptions. Those are the challenges that we see, especially when we talk with Ray Hall appraisals on the show. A lot of times for sale by owners, they don't understand what the true value of their home is. And I've got a beautiful property that I'm listing right here in Tampa Bay, for example. It was a 5-acre, almost 5 acres, right in the Four Oaks, the Gun Highway, Dale Mabry area. So it's a great development opportunity. $1.8 million is about to hit the market here today or tomorrow. The the challenge is, how do you price that, right? And then the question is, well, you're a realtor, you should be able to price that. Well, yeah, we can get you pretty close, but a certified appraiser, Ray Hall, someone that's doing hundreds of appraisals per year is going to be able to zero in more on the value. What's your conversation around value like when you're talking about dealing loans?
So what I tell folks is that I'm not an appraiser and I'm not a realtor. That your realtor is going to know best for values. Matter of fact, I had my old yoga instructor. Actually, she called me today because they're thinking about buying a house, and I had the conversation. It's an auction house, so they're going to do an appraisal ahead of time before they actually bid on the auction. And she's like, well, what do you think? What happens if it comes in $100,000 less or something like that when you do the appraisal? And I said, that's very unusual. We're pretty close to typically what the realtor and the appraiser say. So it doesn't happen often where the appraisal does come in low. It does happen, but not very often. But I always refer to the realtor because you guys know best. I'm more on the lending side, and I understand that. But and I can look at comps, but I'm not the professional on the appraising side of it. So I let that up to the realtor and kind of refer back to you all.
Yeah, and when it does happen, when you do have issues with value, a lot of times what we see is that the for sale by owners, especially when it's a for sale by owner, they're very optimistic. They're trying to err on the side of them making more money. And of course, we all want to profit more and make the most amount of money. And that's what we do with our radio and TV show and our promotions that we do with Keller Williams, the technology. But we've got to be realistic as well. Otherwise, we're setting ourselves up for false expectations. We're letting down a lot of people that have time invested in the deal. And it's a tough conversation. It's one of the hardest conversations that we have in real estate when it comes to value. And think about it from this perspective as well, from a lender. Now, the lender is going to be, most of the time, they're going to, with those loans, they're going to create what they call a mortgage-backed security. So they're going to take that mortgage-backed security and sell it. So it's very important that they're lending at the proper rate. So that's when you have that conversation around value.
Yeah, and I will tell you, a lot of times, not most all the time, but a lot of times when we do have for sale by owners, a lot of times they are overpriced. So those are the ones sometimes that do come in lower. But, like I said, if we do have an appraisal that's lower, we want to make sure that we've given the appraiser that did the appraisal every opportunity if we can supply more comps or something like that, we will do that. But on the for sale by owners, it's kind of like on refinances. A lot of times, people think that their house is worth more than it is. I'm the same way. I think we all are. So, it's a natural instinct to want more for your house. It's, those conversations and the for sale by owners, you don't have that realtor there to actually negotiate for you when something like that happens.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a major part. And then sometimes the realtors, let's face it, in any profession, there's good, better, and best, just like we're finding out right now with all the racial injustice and the protests going on. And, there's bad cops, there's good cops, there's great realtors, there's average realtors, there's less than, average realtors. And that's where you get the pricing sometimes as well. So you got to be careful when it comes to value. We work with Ray Hall. If you want to get a checkup, what he does is a $150 owner's use appraisal. It's a super easy deal. $150, you get to know what your property is valued at. So that's important, especially when it comes to pricing the property properly. And that's going to help you get contracts faster. You're going to be able to move that property. And when you're, for the example I gave, it's a 5-acre parcel right here in the heart of Tampa Bay that I've got listed coming up very soon. It's going to hit the MLS. And of course, LoopNet, CoStar, all the different sites that we use to market the property. That's a detailed conversation because that's a commercial deal. They're going to look at putting sewer, the roads, the development, what's the future land use. There's a lot of things that goes into determining and ascertaining a true and accurate value on that type of a property, Diane.
Absolutely. And I would think you actually got Ray Hall involved in that.
Exactly. I was so glad. I said, I'll pay half the appraisal. Let's just get an appraisal done. I'll pay for half. You pay for half. We both got a little, investment into the game. And that way we know what we're going at. Because if not, it's a detailed, he takes a detailed look. He's talked about how he's even looked at orange groves, and counting the amount of crop that comes out of an acre. And so there's so much that goes into it. And that's totally the opposite of my, everybody says, what's your core competencies? What's your style? I'm not that detailed type person, Diane. So it's good to have someone that is, right? And that's where Lindsay on
that
our
always
team
helps. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. You surround yourself with people that are all stars and
That's right.
that can do those types of things with you and for you. And, we've got a great team at the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. And I know you got a great team on your side as well. You got processors, all types of folks that are working with you, underwriters as well.
Yep. We have an awesome team. Fairway just sets us up for success. And, we have our local processing, although they're actually working very well at home. So it's kind of like we're more productive. And loan officers, of course, and our closer. And, we all are right there. So now we're all, all over the place, but we Zoom every week. We have, a happy hour on one night Zoom, so we can still keep in touch. That's the biggest thing everybody misses is our, the social part of it. But yeah, they're all great people, very experienced. I have a lot of experienced folks that work for me. I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And actually makes me look good. So, hey.
Well, you got a great social media team helping you with the videos. I see some of that content that you're putting out. That's some really good stuff.
Yeah, that was fun to do. I think I told you how much fun that was actually. Well, it was actually very hard to do, but it is a company that is out of LA, and Fairway hired them, and they came in and they gave us, they videoed us all day, and that was the end result. I was actually very surprised that it came out as good as it did.
Yeah,
An actress, I am not.
Awesome. So DianeVance.com, you can connect with her as well on Facebook, and she's got the Instagram as well out there doing a lot of social branding, Fairway Independent Mortgage, and good stuff. More from Diane coming up later in the show with the lightning round. We're going to have some top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom as well. And coming up next, we've got Melissa Menikheim, Pro Health Pest Control. We're going to talk about some of the unknown dangers around real estate, or little known, but they are some of the biggest causes of damage. That's termites. Termites and pests. Termites cause more damage than wind, hail, fire, floods than in real estate. So we're going to talk about that and more from our expert contributors coming up. Plus, our feel-good story of the day. Teen spends 10 hours cleaning up protest, rewarded with free car and a scholarship. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. Thanks for sticking with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife, Lindsay, and I own and operate a top 1% real estate team here in the area, and recently featured in Florida Realtor Magazine again for the May issue of 2020 issue. Featured us talking about our involvement with the community and our branding and strategy that we utilize, and creative ways to promote your team and brand was the name of the story. So real excited about that. All about helping you win in any marketplace. Save our hotline number in your phone. At some point you may need it. 813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline. 813-670-7372. You used to call me on my cell phone. Consumer advocate hotline, call or text. Also, check out the website, consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available on our site at consumerqb.com. We want to help you win in 80 different categories of consumer advocate content and advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And please support our show partners. We've got Two Maids and a Mop as one of our show partners as well. They do a great job. Two Maids and a Mop for your cleaning, all your cleaning needs taken care of by Tabitha and her team. They're out of the Clearwater location for Two Maids and a Mop. They have the safe, reliable, professional grade cleaning, and they do a great job as well. They clean our real estate properties. They clean our personal home, and they have a pay for performance plan as well. So some great opportunities to get involved with the local economy. Now more than ever, we really need to have this local economy, this local thing going on where we're supporting businesses, a collaborative approach to not only the real estate business, but all different businesses. Let's work together to help each other come out of this whole pandemic, the breakdown in our economy, things happening out there. You know, we have a lot of ways to help you here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. A couple of hot listings that we've got for this segment. We've got 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue. This is perfect for a business owner. 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue. It's a freestanding office building with signage on Hillsborough Avenue that has about 40 to 50,000 vehicles a day driving by. It was completely remodeled a few years ago. Got a beautiful conference room, great for your sales teams, your sales meetings, a large conference room. You also have a 52-inch plasma TV as well. You've got a small kitchen and 8 other offices. Great opportunity to own your own building here as a commercial investment. Invest in your business at 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa. Also, a new listing that we've got back on the market, 422 Wildwood Way in Bel Air. 422 Wildwood Way in Bel Air is a great opportunity to own a property in Bel Air, beautiful property, and the owner has put over $100,000 into recent upgrades and renovations. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, we got Melissa Menikheim back on the show. Pro Health Pest Control, welcome back.
Hi, Rob. Thank you.
Hey, my pleasure. And so when you think about real estate, there's the process comes in, people find a house, they zero in on it, and then they say, hey, let's make an offer. They got their pre-approval, hopefully through Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. They get their pre-approval, and then they're ready to go, and then they come in and they do inspections, and then sometimes they find these termites. They find different issues, rodents getting into the home, and that's what your business specializes in, Pro Health Pest Control, helping folks understand more about those decisions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you look at termites, it's the #1 killer, or in terms of, they say it's causes more property damage than wind, fire, flood. Those stats are staggering, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
So when you look at the stats that are there, termite pest control, the opportunity to come in and have those, and we've even talked about it before where we've had disputes. So I've had a deal where the buyer comes in, does their inspection. They say, yeah, there's termites. There's active termites. They want to get the thing tented. They want to go through the expense of that. And then the seller says, no way, I don't have termites in here. How can that be, Melissa?
It's interesting because sometimes the termites, you're not going to see them until they are swarming. We do inspect in the attic, around the home, the exterior, the interior. And if they've been there a while, typically we will see evidence in the attic or on the exterior somewhere. But sometimes they are hidden behind a wall and they're not in the attic. And, maybe the home has been freshly painted. It's been updated. A lot of homes are updated before they're sold. So the paint or the furniture or the finishings in the home or insulation in the attic, there's so many things that can hide the actual termite evidence until they start to swarm. And that's when they come out of basically a pinhole, like a stick pin. So you can imagine how hard that would be to find until they're swarming. And then when they're swarming, that's when they come out and you're going to see the wings and possibly the bodies and the frass, which is the little sawdust stuff that people say. So it can be hidden from most people's view. So I would understand why a seller would say, "What do you mean I have termites? I've never seen them," unless they've swarmed at some point, which can take a few years for termites to even get to that point.
And when they're swarming, is that a what are they doing when they're swarming? What is that, where they're mating or something?
That's a great question. I'm not actually a technician, so I don't know exactly what that is. But that is when I believe they are mating. They come out, and then most of the time they're going to die at that point. So that's why you see the bodies sometimes, and definitely the wings.
Right.
So they've been active maybe behind the wall, but then they come out, and that's when they die, and that's when you see the evidence, like the wings and things. So that's why it can take years for that to happen, and it's very hard to find. So that's why I tell people, it can be conflicting reports, because if somebody inspected it yesterday and they weren't swarming or they didn't come out yet, somebody might not see them. And then today you might see them. Literally, it can happen like that. It's just like when your car breaks. It's driving down the road, it's working fine, and then it breaks.
Right, yeah. And so when you look at the solution then, so you've got the inspections, you're going to do the inspection, and then you have a couple different options as far as treatment.
Sure. That is where it really can be tricky, and this is why, I always recommend getting more than one opinion. Just this week, we went out on a house, and the buyer called and said, "Look, we already know it has termites. The seller's willing to pay for it. We just want another opinion as far as pricing and time, like when it can get done, because this is the busy season. So if a fumigation is recommended or requested, it can be easily 5 weeks or more right now to get it on the schedule." So I said, "No problem. We'll go out and take a look at it." She was sure it needed a fumigation. And so we went out, and we did not see the evidence that somebody else said they saw. And we did recommend some preventative treatments, which was a much lower cost, and the people don't have to leave the home for 3 days and have it fumigated and figure all of that out with, is it going to be fumigated before the closing or after the closing, and, all of those things that would need to happen if it was a fumigation, which is for, somebody that doesn't know what that means. That's when you see the tent on the home when you drive by. That is a fumigation. So, yeah. So if other options are available, we're always going to recommend, if we're not seeing live evidence of termites, there's usually other recommendations that we can do or other treatments that we can do. So they're not having to get stuck with a fumigation. That's kind of like a last case resort. If there's termites in multiple areas in the home, or it's been there for a long time, that would be a recommendation that we would go with. But it's not always the first recommendation.
Yeah, and if you've seen those tinting and the AKA fumigation, that's, if you've seen the movie Breaking Bad, that's where they used the hide in plain sight, right? Remember that movie or the series where Jesse and whatever the other guy's name was, Bryan Cranston played the actor. They would actually be cooking their meth inside one of those tents. They're like, "Hey, last place they're going to look." Kind of crazy.
Exactly. Nobody wants to be in there, because what they do is they set off a gas that sucks out all the oxygen in the home. So anything that is living would not be living, after that. So, but the thing that people don't really know too about a fumigation is that it's toxic if you're in there at the time, obviously when they're setting off the gas, but it's not toxic when it's complete. You don't have to clean down the whole house and wipe off all the, furniture and the plates and there's no residual. So even though it's an inconvenience to leave for 3 days and to go through that process, there's nothing that you're going to have to clean up, and there's no harm, that can do to you when you come back, which is pretty good, which a lot of people don't know that. They think it's going to be, a process to wash all the sheets and do all of that, and that's not necessary.
And if you just joined us, we're talking with Melissa Menikheim here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. You've heard Dan as well on the show. Their husband-wife team own Pro Health Pest Control right here in Tampa Bay. Another one of the reasons why you want to support our show, support the local show partners here in Tampa Bay, Pro Health Pest Control, 813-670-7372. You can call or text that line. Any questions, comments, or introductions that you'd like us to make, we would love to do that. 813-670-7372 is our consumer advocate hotline. Now, another area too, especially with rainy season here, it seems like you've got squirrels and other rodents wanting to try to make their way into the real estate properties, Melissa.
Yeah, they can be quite destructive, not only to the exterior of the home, how they're getting in. They could damage soffits and fascia and siding, the way they're getting in, but also when they get in the home, they are mating, they're leaving droppings. So it can be quite the health concern. So if they are found, most people not only want them removed and all access blocked so they can't get back in, but a lot of people are going to want that insulation removed and new insulation put in.
Right.
Which is really the best way to go. If it's an infestation and it's been happening for a while. The other part of that is if it's not removed and things are not cleaned up properly, the other rodents will come because they will smell that rodents have been there. So even if we get rid of the ones that are there, if it's not properly handled and cleaned up, more will come back. So you either need to have a system going where we're ongoingly checking for them, or it's completely removed and cleaned up. So, that can be quite costly and quite scary for a lot of people to deal with. So that is something else that we're seeing a lot of recently.
And talk to us about your inspections. You have inspection service. You come out, you check out the property, kind of go through a comprehensive checkup on the properties for our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a full service home inspection company. So we do all of the inspections that would be needed when you're purchasing a home, the full home inspection. Also for insurance purposes, we do the 4-point inspection, which is typically for homes over 30 years old. The wind mitigation, which would be for insurance discounts on your home. And then at the same time, we can do the termite or WDO inspection. The reason we can do that is because we have the licensed pest control company. Not all inspectors are able to do that termite inspection. So typically it would be 2 different companies you would have to hire. But so when we're doing that inspection, we're also looking for any rodent activity, any pest activity, things that typically maybe a home inspector would point out if it's a major issue, but they may not always be looking like our inspectors would be because they're trained really in both areas. So we can let the buyers know, and the sellers too, because like I said earlier, the sellers don't always know there is an issue. It was hidden from their view. They didn't, who goes in their attic on a regular basis in Florida? Not me. So most people aren't even aware of it. So when we bring it to their attention, it's just like, okay, well, how do we move forward and get this deal done? Because they want to sell and somebody wants to buy. So let's help you get it figured out.
And have you seen any of these killer bees or murder hornets? All these different things that you hear in the news from time to time.
We have not. It is something that we could definitely take care of. We've seen all kinds of different bees and wasps. We're still looking for them, but we haven't had any calls as of yet.
Good deal. All right. Well, that's Melissa Menikheim here, Consumer Quarterback Show, longtime friend of the program. Pro Health Pest Control, reach out. We'd love to connect you and put them to work. Show them what you can do. You also have the organic side of pest control. Instead of all chemicals, people sometimes think it's all chemicals, but you've got some organic and some natural solutions as well, Melissa.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely, especially for preventative pest control before there's any issues. That really is the way we like to go on the interior of the home. And a lot of people are really loving that, because even if you're not somebody that has allergies or issues, we're all trying to keep products and chemicals out of our home. So that's really what we specialize in using products that are all natural, organic, and are the best for not only just for people, but for the pets and plants as well.
Right. Yep. Our furry friends, the pets and the plants and all the good stuff. All right. Good stuff. Well, thanks for joining us today, Melissa. We appreciate it. If you can hang around, we're going to do our lightning round next. And coming up as well, we got Diane, Vance, Fairway, Independent Mortgage, and more from our expert contributors here coming up. Plus, our feel-good story of the day. Teen spends 10 hours cleaning up after protest, rewarded with a free car and a scholarship. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us here. Brandon Rhymes. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. This segment is brought to you by Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. Say hello to our friends Stephen and Lisa Gunnan over at Replenish IV Solutions. They've got vitamins, minerals, electrolytes that are going to be dripped right into your bloodstream. You're going to have a certified nurse either come to you. You can come, they can make house calls or home or go to your office, or you can go in and visit with them at their two locations. But you got the Myers cocktail, vitamin infusion drips directly into your bloodstream, deliver those vitamins, those minerals, those electrolytes that you need to boost your immunity in these times. Of course, with the outbreak, it's more important than ever. Reach out to Replenish IV Solutions. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you, and take them up on those special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. We've got Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage on the show today, as well as Melissa Menikheim here. Pro Health Pest Control coming up. We're going to jump into our lightning round, but every day we're going to tell you something positive here in our feel-good story of the day. Right here, we're going to tell you something good, as we always do. We're going to tell you our feel-good story of the day. All right, what we've got here is teen spends 10 hours cleaning up protests. He's rewarded with a free car and a scholarship. Teenager in Buffalo, he spent about 10 hours, got rewarded by his efforts in the community, Antonio Gwynn Jr. started at 2 a.m. and did not stop cleaning for the next 10 hours. When an organized group of neighbors arrived later in the morning to assess the damage, they found that Gwynn had already done most of the work. Gwynn, an 18-year-old high school senior, said he saw on the local news that Bailey Avenue in Buffalo was covered in glass and garbage, and he knew people needed to use that street to get to work in the morning. Word spread of how Gwynn single-handedly took action in his community, and the community has rewarded him. Gwynn has been offered a full scholarship to Medill College and a 2004 Ford Mustang convertible. And he's even getting a year of free auto insurance. So the car was gifted to Gwynn by Matt Block, who said he saw Gwynn's story on the news and decided to give him his Mustang. Block 27 told CNN the car he wanted was since he was a child, and he'd been using it only occasionally. So he saw Gwynn and gave him some advice on Facebook, and Matt decided to offer up his sports car. It turns out the gift had more meaning to Block than ever imagined. Gwynn's mother, who passed away in 2018, also drove a red Mustang. When he realized the coincidence, Gwynn said he was so shocked he didn't have any words, and Block says it just gave him goosebumps. Gwynn is thankful for the community's response, and I appreciate everything everyone has done for me, says Gwynn. All right, there's our feel-good story of the day. I love those feel-good stories, and we always love to tell you something good here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we have our expert contributors here on the show today, Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, and Melissa Menikheim as well, Pro Health Pest Control. So Diane, let's go to you. Top tips, parting words of advice.
Top tip is if you are thinking about refinancing or purchasing, give me a call. Or if you're renting and would like to see how much you can purchase a home for the same amount of rent that you're paying now, please go to Brandon's website, and they'll give you the number to actually call and just reach out. We need to have a conversation while the interest rates are very low and you can get into a home.
Yeah, great time to do that. Reach out before, things change, circumstances change. And there's a lot of opportunity out there, personal properties for owner-occupied. There's investment opportunities. What a great time to buy a duplex, triplex, or a quad and rent it either long-term or potentially Airbnb. Note to check
We've had a lot of those.
You have?
Yes, we've had a lot of fourplex for the persons moving in, and the other people that are renting pay their mortgage.
They're listening to us out there, Diane.
They are. We've had like 3 or 4 in the last month.
Yeah, we've been beating that drum for a while.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Build up your wealth through real estate. A lot of people have done
That's
it.
Right.
Melissa Menikheim, Pro Health Pest Control. Top tips.
Top tips. Well, I said it earlier. Always get a second opinion on what treatment needs to be done or is recommended to be done, and also pricing. Even if the same treatment is recommended, the pricing can vary greatly. And also ask for recommendations from your realtor and from the professionals that you're working with if it's through the real estate transaction. They probably know people that they've worked with 10, 20, 100 times, so they know the quality of their work.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that idea. Finding out and sticking here with the show. What I'm going to do is talk about the theme of personal development. I'm a huge fan of personal development. I speak on personal development, and there's not many times during the day, if I've got idle time, I've got downtime, that I'm not listening to an audiobook, watching some type of a YouTube video of another show that's going to educate me on a certain topic or idea. And focusing on personal development is going to help you double your income, triple your income over the years. If you consistently improve yourself, there's going to be opportunity for improvement. There's going to be opportunity for growth. And it's so easy to do it today. You've got audiobooks. If you're, that's one of the best things I really like is to listen to an audiobook. And I can do that while I'm doing other things, while I'm doing, my workout, or I'm doing laundry, or whatever it might be, right? Focus on personal development, grow your skill base, because a lot of times people say, well, what's your most valuable asset? Oh, well, that's my 19 whatever car, my beautiful Mustang convertible car, my real estate properties. No, the number one asset that you have going forward in life is, and especially a lot of people are learning this lesson right now because they've gotten laid off, is your overall cumulative knowledge, skills, and abilities. What have you built up over the years to separate yourself and differentiate yourself from your competitors? And that's easy to do now. You can read books, you can listen to YouTube videos, you can download shows like the Consumer Quarterback Show and gain perspective, gain knowledge over the years, and that's going to help you grow in whatever profession you choose. And that's a big part of it as well, choosing the right profession. There's lots of professions that you can go into, and you always want to be, thinking about ways to differentiate yourself from the competition. All right, let's do another round. Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage.
I'm actually reading some books, Brandon, E-Myth Revisited. It's
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever read that one, but it's really reminds you of how exactly what you're saying is that you do need to always think about what the market is today with the COVID-19. A lot of things have changed. People are buying houses online, sight unseen, and they're having the realtors do the virtual tours. It's pretty amazing that they're doing that. So we're trying to keep up with the times, and so looking at different books to help us do that and different systems. So anyways, always into self development.
That's right. Yeah, I'm reading another negotiation book right now as well, the Start With Why. It's one that was mentioned in the other book I like so much by Chris Voss. That was Never Split the Difference. Great stuff. And hey, we're out of time here today. I want to thank Melissa Menikheim as well. Pro Health Pest Control. Say hello to Dan and the team. Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Always a pleasure spending some time with you, Diane. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Lots of ways you can do something kind for one another. You can donate some time, donate some blood. Maybe you want to swing a hammer for Habitat for Humanity, or reach out with Warwick Dunn Charities. Get involved with some of these charities and these groups here. Follow us online. We would love to connect with you online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, the Consumer Quarterback Show page, and the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams page on Facebook. And of course, you can hit our website at consumerqb.com. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time